So my name is Andy Drake, and I'm the manager of the Leeds Talent Hub, which is my main England role. And I think probably if you tuned into the first webinar, then we went through the all of this, who I am and what I get up to. And if you're really interested in all of that, then you can check back when this goes online next week. Right. So this afternoon's session, we're looking at racewalk technique. We did our first session on warm-up. One scheduled today looks at some, I guess, introducing technique, and then we're coming back to warm-up with Wednesday's session, which is probably more kind of drills and skills type session. So but again, we looked at this slide in our first session, and I think all of us on here as coaches or athletes are somewhere in between the two athletes in the images there, from getting going in early stages in our career, or really cracking on and seeing how good we can be. So we all fit in that continuum somewhere along the line. And right, well, okay, so the key part of this afternoon session is to watch a little bit of video. It's a lot shorter than the one that we watched last week. So it's taken from some of the Coach Ed material. So if you were signing up to do your athletics coach qualification and you're taking the endurance route, then I think you would use some of this. So let's have a look and see what we think. Cool. Right, here we go.
Race walking.
Race walking.
Walk with relaxed shoulders and with shoulders square to the front. Use bent arms with a 90-degree angle, driven backwards and forwards to balance the leg action. Hands swing to the center of the body and elbows drive backwards, so the hands end above the hips. Using a chest-to-pocket action with the hands. The front foot is planted with the toes up. The athlete should demonstrate a relaxed full, upright posture with no bend at the waist. The leg is straight at contact and remains straight through to vertical. The athlete should use a strong push off the rear foot.
Cool. That's our video, short and sweet. So we got a nice demo from some of you will know the athlete. That's Emily Gose. Nice demonstration from Emily, and then we've got a young athlete just getting to grips with some real basic stuff. And I guess what we want to achieve with introducing technique to somebody, if they're just trying out race walking, then it's to give them a workable technique so that they could actually do a competition and see how they get on with it, and thereafter probably to make a lot of refinements. So if we just follow that up then with what I've got on here, some of the teaching progressions just cut out all the text and just got some of the like the figures that we would use when introducing walks technique to a complete novice. So yeah, just to kind of get to grips with a basic model. So on the images that we've got on there, so it's 2 slides worth of this. Let's have a look at these and then let's have a chat. So image number 1 is just marching along with big long arms and a big long step, and then bringing in something like a bit more of a walks arm action. So you can see the image starts off with straight arms, and then we put in a right angle at the elbows. And I guess what we find then is that we don't get much of an arm drive in the athletes, so we practice that with a partner, which is what we've got in image number 2 on there. So and then what we find, come back. Then what we find is that the athletes probably struggle to keep their legs straight. So of course you've got your 2 parts to your race walk rule. So you have to have continuous contact with the ground, so that period of double support, and advancing leg. When you put your foot on the floor, leg's got to be straight, and it's got to stay straight through mid stance. So people do struggle with that when we're just starting out. So we actually do a really sort of high knee drill, which we don't want at all when we really get into the event proper, but we kind of then, it does help the athletes get their legs straight, which is what we've got in image number 3. Just practice placing the foot on the floor with the toes up, just down, gently down on the heel. And yeah, that's, we hope that will give them a feel for a race walk with a straight leg. Then we get into like stride length. So number 4 and images number 4 and number 5 on there. There's a couple of different methods. We might use like a ladder to practice what it feels like with a really long step or a really short step. And we might try and then sort of optimize step length with putting some cones out, which is what we've got in image number 5 on here. And what that signifies is we place them quite close together at first, and then gradually increase the distance between the cones, so we get into a longer step. And I guess those are probably, getting to grips with the basics. And then we probably then want to start refining things a little bit. So there is a distinctive hip movement in our event, and that's got a vertical and a horizontal component. So if you've got access to things like hula hoops, which you've probably got down the club, then this is what 6A and 6B are showing us. Okay, so we've got a hula hoop around the waist, and athlete is rotating that in front of them, and probably from sort of around 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock in terms of like a clock face, so that we're just getting some rotational component in the hips, and they're walking on a straight line at the same time. You've probably got a straight line on your track, and then 6B, the other part, to get more of the vertical component. They're holding it like a steering wheel, and again, rotating it around 10 to 2. So we've got some vertical and horizontal components. If you haven't got a hula hoop, you can, you can still, I'm sure you're smart enough to, to mimic those same movements without. And then just carrying on with some of the refinements. Number 7, walking on a straight line with a really long arm swing and long low steps. That's going to help us. We went back to practice number 3 with the high knees when we're trying to help the athletes get their legs straight. Then this is kind of like then start to refine some of that, so that we're swinging our foot through much lower, and something far more like our regular race walk technique. And again, that's walking on the line. And then we might practice some variations of that with perhaps with our arms folded in front of us, behind us, which is number 8. And number 9, really helps with good posture. And any of the kind of drills that we do, we've got our arms out in this example to the side, in front, above our head. Yeah, we find that they really help with posture. So yeah, that's number 9 on there. 10, to get our foot rolling, so make good use of our ankle. If we think back to the video with Emily, you know, toes up, and she didn't slap her foot down on the floor. She was really good. So if we slap the foot down and we kind of switch off, yeah, all of the sort of the backside mechanics that we have, and we really struggle to pull through our hips, and we can then only get going with a push off, and that all starts with sort of good strength, like below the knee. So yeah, walking along a wavy line, doing a snake, is a good way to get some of that feeling of rolling your feet. And then that leads us into wanting to have a nice that pull motion, and we've got a couple of variations there on number 11 and number 12. So number 11 is imagining you're pulling yourself along with pulling a rope, so you get a big pull through your hips. And number 12 is walking up a slope. So you know, maybe for sort of 6 to 10 seconds at a time, so you get that feeling of pulling. So if we get the pull going at the front of the step, our whole step is a lot more active rather than just pushing off from behind. So we get a pull and we get a push. And yeah, when you get all that going nicely, then yeah, we saw a nice bit of video from Emily just now. Yeah, or you get these nice sequences here, you know, and you hold that all together. You stay really good, even when you're really, really tired or going really, really quick. And the example we've got there is from Tom. This is from the British Indoor Champs the other week, when we could all still go out and race. You know, so, and in essence there, we just picked out, you know, when we're getting into refining these things, some real common sort of terms. We want our athletes to be relaxed. We want them to stay good and tall, because that helps with posture, and their feet swinging through low, and their shoulders and their arms low. Yeah, as part of that. So you know, those sort of 3 kind of coaching pointers, you know, are regular features. Cool. So that was our little bit of video with the American commentary as well, and then just where some of that would go with those, you know, the young athletes or the novice athlete that we had in the video. Just perhaps, you know, some of those drills that with the little stick man that we just looked at, we might start to build some of those together, and then ultimately, yeah, like we saw with Emily in the video, all those images of Boz on there. That's what we're after. So yeah, if we've got some questions, let's see what we think. Nice one. Hi, Silvana. Thanks. That's a good question. How can I improve toe raising just before the straight leg lands? Well, I guess, yeah, probably those last 2 drills. Imagine you're pulling yourself along with a rope or going up a, you know, it doesn't have to be a steep hill, just a little gradient. You know, maybe those things will help. Coupled with that, yeah, with both of those drills, I'd ask the athletes to think about pulling through their hips. So anybody that I coach is getting, it's probably just rolling their eyes at the moment as, yeah, here he goes again. If we struggle with that and your foot slaps down, which is really common with, you know, lots and lots of our young athletes, because you're just not going to be really strong in that area. Then if you struggle with that, then you know, we want to do probably some additional kind of conditioning exercises to be strong around our all around our ankles, and, like, you know, shin and our calf muscles, so that you know, we can dorsiflex, we can hold our toes up, so that you can then, like, pull through your hips, and that will help you to be able to do that. So a bit of conditioning and a bit of practice. But yeah, key question, great one to start. Question from Spencer: with the Olympics postponed a year, do we think this is a good idea? Well, my heart says no, but my head says yes, it is, because it's yeah, you know, clearly that's you know, given the situation that we're all in. I mean, it is Bank Holiday Monday, and it was Easter, or is Easter at the moment, but probably doesn't feel very much like it, unless you've got a house full of chocolate. Yeah, so how are we going to prepare differently? Well, we know that the date is, yeah, they've just shifted it, you know, exactly 12 months. So, you know, we were very happy with the plan that we had in place to take us up to summer this year, and that was based on, a lot of that was based on sort of heat preparation for the conditions that we're going to face in Tokyo. So the 12-month shift in the date is still going to be super hot and humid when the athletes race there next summer. We spent 2019 practicing and working out, you know, working out our preparation model. Yeah, particularly with, you know, built around heat. And then we had the opportunity to test that out with the athletes at the World Champs in Doha. And, you know, we came away from there really sort of enthused that we're very, very happy with the preparation, so that's, you know, that's slotted straight in for our Olympic preparation. So, yeah, given it's a 12-month postponement, I can tell you pretty much exactly, you know, how the athletes will prepare, the time frame for all of that, preparation camps, and then sort of the specific heat prep in the environmental chamber that we have in Leeds. So yeah, so that bit's the straightforward bit. It's actually what to do, yeah, right now. And I guess so. The athletes with Olympic ambitions, you know, right now they're probably athletes that do like double day training, big volumes, lots of intensity as well. They're in the gym a lot. So obviously we can only go outside and train once a day. So we're all adhering to that. So doing one training session outside. Those have been changed a little bit. So we're not matching their normal volume. We're probably doing about 3/4 of it. Good reason for that would be they can't access any physio. And if we do big volumes and we push them really hard, you know, we don't want to sort of run the risk of making them ill and running down their immune system. And again, any support that they'd have for that, they probably can't access it physically. So yeah, we're just keeping them in a holding pattern, I guess. They're certainly staying very fit, and you know, addressing all the components that they need. And by the time we can get out racing again, then you know, we'll have a good idea of when that is, and then we can pick up back to our, you know, we're not going to be very far away at the moment from our regular sort of training volume. So yeah, we're all happy in terms of how we're going to plan for that. And then I guess the younger athletes, if we'll get on to our next question, for them it's actually a big opportunity to get used to kind of training independently, and possibly doing a bit more training than they're used to, because they're probably not like walking to school or anything like that. So I guess their overall step count is probably well down. So for them, it's actually an opportunity to do a bit more, and get into some good habits that if they're off the uni or something like that later in the year or next year, then that sort of ownership and independence actually is really, you know, going to be really helpful. But it's probably quite a tough thing for them to, you know, to get out and do on their own at the moment. So cool. We've got another question from Steve. Thank you. Is it good to incorporate video technique sessions to review with the athlete? So yeah, I'm sure we all agree that that's a good idea. And in an age now when we all have access to technology that lets us do that. So yeah, I would imagine everybody watching this has got access to at least a mobile phone that's got a camera on it that'll allow them to do some video. And then they've probably got I'm sure lots of the coaches have got apps on there, things like Huddle, Coach's Eye, Dartfish. There's a lot of free apps that will like let you slow the video down, and that's just a brilliant thing then, because you can video the athlete and you can just instantly show it to them. If you're down at the track or in the park, and you can have if there's something that you're trying to make a change on, then you can have a look at that and give you feedback straight away, which is and that technology just continues to accelerate. So it's a pretty straightforward thing for us to be able to do now. So question for Steve: do we think walking on track and tightness of the bends can cause different strains of the body compared with the road? How do we balance the different circuits? I'm not sure. Certainly indoor track, but that's because it's cambered. And some of the athletes do not like some of the indoor tracks. And if they're predisposed for injury, or they've had an injury, then I do understand that people don't like the indoors. That's the camber. That's not quite the question. No, I think if it does highlight things, then it's probably down to something we want to address in conditioning, in terms of like the bends on the track. So road is different because it'll have bigger impacts than the track surface. And I do know that like tarmac and concrete are also different. Concrete is tougher on your legs than tarmac, and both obviously tougher than the track surface. So if we only ever train on the track and then we hit the roads, we might feel that. That's perhaps something for us to have a think about. That's a good shout. Cool. So Grazia has a question. We've got high cadence. That's good, I think, but very short strides. So how can I make that a little bit longer? So, easy to say. Practice, and maybe again going back to the same sort of drills that we highlighted. Maybe the one with getting the little cones out and starting them out with where your stride is present. Going back to our previous point, we might video that, and then putting the cones a little bit further and further apart, or using the gradient, or practicing that like the drill with a rope pull idea. So we can practice those things, and then we can that gives us a feel for what that wants to be like. We then need to if we're going to make modifications, it's really difficult to focus 100% on any sort of technical changes. So whether you set if you've got a timer on your watch so that it beeps every 60 seconds, something like that, and it prompts you then to rethink about striding out. That might be one way of doing that. If you've not got so some of the athletes I work with would try some of that. I'm often out on the bike with them, so they just get nagged. And I guess going back again, point we've made previously, about keeping toes up. Again, conditioning will be a factor in all of this as well. So if we up our, we hit our S&C is probably a factor as well. Are my athletes, the athletes I coach, are they doing more conditioning at home than usual? So I think they're probably doing. I think the guys that I coach are doing the same, but they do a lot. So they do 2 or 3 sessions a week. Most of them we have managed to kit them out with the equipment that they would normally use in the gym, or in a close approximation of that. So, to let them be not a million miles away, or just do alternative exercises if we haven't got some of the specific bits and pieces that we might use. But they do a lot. in the year and leading into the last Olympics, leading into Rio, 25%, a quarter of Tom Bosworth's weekly training hours were apportioned to strength and conditioning. So that's quite a bit of time. So it's a big factor in what the athletes do that I work with. So yeah, they're doing a lot. Probably not more for them. For younger athletes, like I said, probably an opportunity to step a few things up. But that's a big tough challenge when you're used to working in your groups. I do know that. But good question. Right, athletes in lockdown, which is all of us. How many sessions walking a week would you recommend? Would a mixed walk training and endurance running as different techniques? So for young athletes, run, walk. We're athletes first, and then then we're doing our specific events. Our topic this evening, we're talking race walking. So and the guys that I coach still have some running in their training, depending who they are, more or less of that. I guess we tend to use it as recovery, so we don't really do any like sessions or long, or long stuff as runs. Or the key stuff is race walk, and then often it's recovery. We might drop in some running for recovery, but the analogy that I would use with young athletes, it's a bit like coaching swimmers, that you're going to teach them all 4 swim strokes, and then they go into competitions and they this is a medley, then they stick to the one technique, but they practice them all. So for the young athletes, be a good athlete first, and mix up the walking and run stuff. Many athletes at first find technique of toe raising before planting the foot is painful on the shin. You're quite right. We get sore shins. Anyone just starting out in walking. Because that dorsiflexion that uses the tibialis anterior muscle on your shin, and it's only a little bit of muscle, and it's been asked to do an awful lot of work. So it gets tired. So I guess post training you might want to do some stretches for that. But in terms of then conditioning that, one thing you can do with zero equipment is to lean against the wall. Your back against the wall, and then have your feet probably 30-40 centimeters out in front, and then just lift your hips up so that you've got a straight line from your heel through to your shoulder. So it should just be your shoulder touching the wall, and then you can do some you can raise your toes from that position with your legs straight. You'll feel that will do some conditioning on your shin. If you've got access to like PhysioTheraBand or some gym bands, which are probably a bit fatter and tougher, then you can sit on the floor and do lots of toe raises with those. But you can also do those around turning your foot in and turning your foot out as well, so that you're conditioning all around the sort of through all the planes of movement. So a bit of S&C, and maybe a bit of TLC stretching afterwards, after we've done our training session. But eventually we kind of do get past that. But good shout. Cool. Right, Spencer's call time. So brilliant. Thanks for checking in on this. It'll appear on the website probably in about a week's time. I think that's what we're promising. We're back on Wednesday, similar time, to look at some drills and skills. And thereafter, I'm interested to know what you as coaches and athletes would like us to present from a race walking content here. So you can find me an email. I'm sure loads of you know where to find me. Otherwise, see you Wednesday. And thanks very much.